Does America hate Meghan Markle?
I would argue that Meghan Markle's presence in that family has not brought that level of shame and disgust in the ways that some of people here are trying to allege.
I didn't even say Andrew's name.
What is the wrong of Meghan Markle?
It was all lies. So she tried to accuse the British royal family of racism. That's the crime.
You don't get to actually tell a person of color whether or not they're experiencing racism or not. That's just the bottom line.
We admit that Harry's a little bitch boy. You know, that's not the debate, is it? We're not defending Harry.
So am I having a chance to talk, or is this going to be 2-on-1?
Meghan had the advantage of looking white, okay? So you can't tell me that she experienced racism.
You found the person of color that you're going to logically say, look, a black woman says Meghan Markle's not racist, so she must not be.
No, P-Dina's a regular on this show, Ernest.
No, I'm on here all the time,
I think I'm going to horrify you here because I am going to tell you right now, and I know more than you, that Meghan Markle experienced no racism within the British royal family and no racism from the British press. That is my...
Do you believe him, Dan?
I don't know. I don't know what's in his heart. I don't know Danny Baker.
Get out of here. Get out of here.
Ernest, you've got to let me respond to that, please. Does America hate Meghan Markle? It's a week of the clash here on Outspoken, where we debate the biggest issues in the world. Let's go. And joining me today, royal YouTube sensation P-Dina. She says Meghan is hated. And Ernest Owens, one of the wokest men in the world. He is the author of the book, The Case for Cancel Culture. So I'm going to let both of you put your case now. I'm going to shut up. P-Dina, you've got a minute. Why does America hate Meghan Markle? Go.
Essentially, Meghan Markle was afforded an amazing opportunity. The world embraced her. They loved to see the diversity of the royal family. They had hopes for Meghan to come in and to show herself to be a woman who could lead by example and do what she had to do as a woman of somewhat color, and to be that voice of reason to help young girls in America who are of color to see someone like her in this amazing institution. And when it all went wrong is where she let down essentially all the girls in America that looked up to her. She did not show herself to be someone who could follow the rules, who knew how to be upstanding in her service and duty in which she committed to. She showed herself to be someone who was all about self and not about trying to come together for the sake of her husband, who this is his family. And so
okay,
she showed herself.
Your minute is up. We will get much more into these details. But why is she wrong, Ernest? Why is it untrue? You say America presumably loves Meghan Markle or certainly doesn't hate her. What's your argument? Go.
I think most Americans don't actually care. I think there's been so much of a hyper obsession over Meghan Markle that I would argue she's not hated that much in America as many people would like to waste their time and argue on. I don't even argue that she's even the most hated person in the royal family right now. I think there are more Americans that hate Prince Andrew, rightfully so, than they hate Meghan Markle. And I think what's really been interesting is that so much of the British tabloids and press banter towards her has not given that same level of consistent scrutiny and disdain towards her than they have, let's say, others. And I think part of this has been because she is American, because she is a Black woman, because of the fact that she carries both of these identities while marrying someone like Prince Harry. And I feel as though she never was given any level of optimism from the public in the same way that others have. And I think some people...
Okay, well, your minute's up, Ernest, but there's a couple of things I'm going to pick up there immediately. Okay? Couple of things I'm going to pick up immediately. So, firstly, you say that she wasn't given love and that it's because she was a woman of color. Honestly, Ernest, I don't know if you were in...
a woman of color and American.
Okay, and American. But yeah. I don't know if you were in the United Kingdom for the wedding of Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. I was. I've been in this country for well over 2 decades. Outside of the London 2012 Olympics, it was one of the greatest days, Ernest. The whole country came together. There were street parties. Entire communities came together. We were willing to give this woman a real try. And so I think it's completely intellectually dishonest for you to say that Brits didn't embrace Meghan to begin with, because we did. I did.
So actually, what's interesting about that there were questions about, how dark her baby would be. And that was prior to conversations around willing. I think it's interesting that she said willing. Like there was already a projection, right, of like willing, as if it wasn't naturally assumed her in the same way that Kate Middleton did. Like the idea of like we were willing to give her a chance, as if there was a presumption of a lack of innocence prior to. And I think that mindset is what kind of was a dark cloud over Markle before she even got a chance to prove who she was. I think, a nice wedding is great, right? I mean, I would hope that most of the press would be respectful during a wedding. But at the moment that she, said, I do, you can see a lot of negative clashing rumors about issues with the family. And a lot of that drama was even happening before the actual wedding itself.
P-Dina, you want to jump in?
The wedding actually outlined.
I want to, but Ernest, you say they were willing to give her an opportunity. Yes, she was a woman that came from a very different background from the people that usually are marrying into the royal family. So of course, I'm saying that that's not a racist or mean thing to say. It was they wanted to give her an opportunity to see how she was going to prove herself for this very important job, and she failed miserably. So there's nothing wrong with them saying something like that. She's completely different from the rest of these people. Okay, let's give her a chance. Let's see how she's going to do. There is nothing wrong with that. I think the royal family wanted to educate themselves on how to embrace someone like Meghan, and she was the wrong kind of woman of color to help the royal family understand diversity the way that they were trying to embrace Meghan to do that. And so Meghan was the one that failed here. And I think people just can't admit it because they want to root for the person that is like them. But hey, she's like me as well. And I'm saying she failed. And that's being honest about her behavior, her character, what she did not do. Even as a woman of color, to say that people were racist towards you, you don't just leave a job that you had committed to doing for your husband. You stay, you stick it out because you're used to people behaving a certain kind of way towards you. It doesn't make you want to leave and run away. And you know why she wanted to run away, Ernest? Because she never wanted to stay in the beginning. She always had the goal to leave. She wanted to use the royal family to help her own career, and she persuaded Harry to go, and that's what he did. And look at where we are now. They're living in California. It was the plan from the beginning, and you know it, Ernest.
Ernest, why are you laughing at that?
It's delusional. I mean, the fact that, again, listen, if you don't like Meghan Markle, that's fine. But to strip Harry of his agency, and this is a grown adult, a person who, I'm trying to figure out why.
Well, no, we admit that Harry's a little bitch boy. That's not the debate, is it? We're not defending Harry.
So am I having a chance to talk, or is this going to be 2-on-1? I mean,
no.
Okay.
You're going to get a chance. Go, Ernest.
So what I'm saying here is that I think that to assume that she's the reason why Harry left, as if there weren't problems with him in the royal family. And also, what I want to push back on is this idea that she's this ultimate problem in the family, and we're going to ignore, how much grace has been extended in certain ways to Prince Andrew. I mean, you want to talk about someone who's really disrespected the royal family, who's consistently have been in controversy, who's consistently, have not really adjusted and adapted to the ways that people would argue the royal family should behave, and the way that the family has navigated these Epstein files and have really handled him with a level of respect and dignity despite this disgusting and ridiculous behavior. I would argue that Meghan Markle's presence in that family has not brought that level of shame and disgust in the ways that some of people here are trying to allege.
Ernest, can I make a couple of points?
I didn't even say Andrew's name.
Yeah, exactly. I do. But Ernest, you've got to let me respond to that, please. Because remember, I'm the dude who has been reporting on the disgrace of Prince Andrew since 2011. since before I
Exactly.
even knew who
Exactly.
Meghan Markle was. And Ernest, without people
Right.
like me in the British press, no one would have seen these photos. I was working at the News of the World at the time when we got these photos. It was the fake sheikh operating in New York City, got these pictures of Epstein and Andrew. You know, at that point, Ernest, no one even knew that they were friends. So without reporting from people like me, there would be no Epstein files. Seriously, that's just a fact. So
I'm
I
not-
And I
don't think
talked
you
about it
can
too.
say that I haven't
Sure.
talked about this. And I also
Oh,
think
right.
you can
You
say
can
that there are
talk over
two
me.
types of wrong.
Dan teams up with the Royal News Network to discuss what may really be happening in the marriage of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. With constant media attention and growing pressure around their public life and business projects, many royal watchers are asking if the strain is starting to show. Dan breaks down the latest discussion and what commentators are saying about the Sussex story. Like the video for more royal updates. Subscribe for the latest royal family news comment below. What do you think about Harry and Meghan's situation?
What is the wrong of Meghan Markle? And why is it giving this much air? Like, what is the wrong?
Falsely accused.
wrong.
Okay, can I?
That
You've
you
asked
do
a
what's
question.
actually wrong.
You've asked a
What
question.
criminal
Let
thing
me
has
answer
she
you
done?
very quickly. I'll answer you
Sure.
very quickly, and you can come back. Tell you what her wrong is. She lied about racism within the British royal family, and she wanted to bring down the entire British royal family. And Ernest, earlier you spoke about the skin color debate in regards to Archie. Well, Prince Harry has pretty much admitted that was all made up now. It was all baloney. It was all lies. So she tried to
That's not
accuse
true.
the British royal family of racism.
That's
That's
not
the crime.
It
No,
is true,
listen,
Ernest. He
you don't
did
get
walk
to-
it back.
So hold on. Before you become whatever you're saying here, I want to get clear. You don't get to actually tell a person of color whether or not they're experiencing racism or not. That's just the bottom line. Like, I just think that if
So she
the
can just
royal
make
family
stuff up.
is the label, no, you don't
Yeah,
get to
without
say that.
evidence.
Who's to say that the things that's been reported by the tabloids in the British family about Meghan is not made up? Like, I just think if you're going to accuse her of lying, right, about experiencing racism, which is the experience that she can experience as a Black person, right, that she is saying that as in her experience. If you're going to deny her of that take, I don't understand how you can then turn around and justify unsubstantiated rumors about her. Either
Okay, well,
you don't.
I
Like,
can tell you why.
you don't believe
I can
it.
tell
Okay,
you
so
why.
you don't believe that. You don't believe that she experienced racism. I
Ernest,
believe
let
she do.
P-Dina come in because she hasn't had a go for a
She-
while.
She said
Now
she
what?
said some things that her husband told her. Megan didn't hear these things that they said, and even if she did hear them say, because I think you're referring to whether or not they said the baby was what color the child was going to be. First of all, that's not racist to even say something like that. We all wonder what color the baby is going to be. So we're
They said
even
how
beginning to sort of
dark
false
the baby
pretense. Well, how dark? Well, whatever. What's wrong with that? Okay. Dark, light, whatever. You're asking the question, what is my child going to look like? There is absolutely nothing racist about that. Okay. So there was no racism, but she was accusing the family of racism by making that statement, but it wasn't racist. Okay. That's the problem. Meghan wanted to experience racism. She wanted a reason for the royal family to give her to leave, to not want to be in that institution, but she didn't get what she wanted. That's made up. You can't tell me, Ernest, that when someone asks the question, what color is your child going to be, that is racist. Because Black
Ernest?
people
What
want
are
to
you,
know
if you're
too.
going to talk at me, let me say this. Talking points aside, do you believe there's racism in the royal family?
I believe absolutely there has been, but
Okay.
this is the problem. But here's the problem. You can't ask that question and let me explain. Here's the thing.
I'm not stopping you. I just
People
asked
are
you a question.
racist. Black people are racist. Racist people exist all throughout the world. But what I opposed to the royal family was their willingness to embrace someone that was not like them. Their willingness to give this woman an opportunity to marry their son. Okay. And she came in and she showed her butt. She showed out and she wasn't respectful. She did everything that she could to show herself not to even be someone upstanding in character, and it really doesn't have anything to do around race. Meghan wanted it to be about race. It is all about Meghan's character and how she treated that family, Ernest, because you yourself would not
Dude,
allow
what did she do to the
Meghan to come into
family?
your family. You would not allow her to come into your
Dude.
family to disrespect your grandma,
What
right?
did she
And to
do? These
treat
are all
your family like that.
allegations. It's crazy, but again, this is such again, the point I'm making. So what examples? You're telling me things that's been said in tabloids. So it's easy to frame Meghan Markle
Tabloids.
as a racist, as someone who is hurting a family based on what? Like the family barely gives a statement about anything. None of the family members have actually outright in the press accused of any of the things that the tabloids have.
There have
But
been a
yet
lot of
Meghan has-
accusations about
but
Meghan.
Meghan has spoken. No, no, no. But Meghan has actually spoken on these experiences that she has faced. And so we're not to believe what she has said, but you're supposed to believe allegations that has not actually been stated by members of the royal family by who?
Okay,
The
well,
tabloid.
Because that's
Prince
their
William,
motto.
Prince William has
They
gone on
can't.
the record, Ernest. He said very clearly after the Oprah Winfrey interview that the royal family is not a racist family. That was in direct response to Meghan Markle. Now, in
And
terms of you
recollections
talking,
may vary.
and
They
that was
said
the
that's
statement
yours.
from the late Queen.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of you
Prince
saying,
Andrew says he's not a pedophile.
well, in
and-
terms of you saying tabloid headlines, right, Ernest, I want to
Yes.
push back
Not
on
true.
that because I'm one of the guys who wrote a lot of those headlines. And I mean, you're not trying to tell me that when I revealed the story of Megxit, that that's not true. So I don't know why you're doubting that, for example, I reported before anyone else that the late Queen had warned Harry about Meghan's appalling behavior, that the reason that Catherine, the Princess of Wales, and Meghan fell out was because of the terrible treatment and bullying of staff by Meghan at Kensington Palace.
So Meghan, so we're supposed to believe that there's not a racial bias in media? Because as the president of the Philadelphia Association of Black Journalists, I will tell you, as a Black journalist, there is racial bias in the way that people are covered. And if
goes
you think
both
that there
ways.
was no racial bias in the way that Meghan Markle was covered to some extent, even if you want to say that it wasn't with
There
you, Dan,
wasn't.
you cannot.
There
Why?
wasn't.
Of course,
Ernest,
of course, you will
quite
not.
the opposite. Quite
Right,
the
right.
opposite. And
So
this,
you're
you've
gonna
got to let
tell
me
me-
explain
you're going
this,
to tell me-
Ernest.
Sure, you got two. You and your other co-hosts are dogpiling. You all have a very similar bias slate. You're not
No.
again.
No.
It's even in the panel. 2/3 of it says, "Look, you found the person of color that you're going to logically say, oh, look, a Black woman says Meghan Markle's not racist, so she must not be."
No,
as if
P-Dina's
we
a
did
regular
not
on this
see
show,
what's
Ernest.
happening.
No, I'm on here all the time, Ernest. You
Right,
didn't
the
find
conservative
me
voice.
just for this, okay?
P-Dina's
been
a
here
regular
before.
on this show. She has been ever since my GB News show, as you were,
Right.
Ernest. I was actually the first
Right.
person to put
Right.
you on television in the United
Piers Morgan
Kingdom.
did. Piers-
No.
Piers
I was
Morgan
before
did.
him at GB News. I was well before him at GB News, Ernest. And you should know that. Piers Morgan followed me. We can go and check the dates, okay? So why would I put
glad?
someone like you on television if I was trying to shut down your point of view? I would argue that P-Dina and I actually have very different experiences. I'm obviously not a person of color. I'm based in the United Kingdom. I'm a journalist. But what I'm trying to tell you, Ernest, is that actually quite the opposite happened within British newspapers for about 18 months. No one was actually prepared to report on the terrible behavior of Meghan Markle because they were so scared
wasn't
that Harry
substantiated.
was going to accuse
It
them of
wasn't
racism.
substantiated. There's rumors of racism on her end too. But I'm just trying to say what makes their opinions and their allegations against her more valid than hers. That's the question I'm going to ask.
Because she's been a proven liar and she brought no evidence. That's why.
And there's been a proven lie within the royal family. There has been reports
What?
the royal family has been tipping off tabloids about negative press and that they retaliate against her, where you saw a barrage of more negative press following the Oprah interview. Here's what I will do. I'm going to lead by example, right? I can believe that multiple things can be true without having to make my argument. Meghan Markle's not perfect. In many ways, just like Harry, both of them, I think, has had an excessive amount of celebrity around them in ways that I think has distracted them from the service that they can do. I can say that while also saying that in certain cases, I do feel like there was some racial bias. The problem with people on the other side of this argument is you want us to be delusional to assume that there was no harm, nothing wrong with Meghan Markle, and she's an absolute villain. I'm
That's
not going
not
to do that. I'm not going to
that's
believe
not-
that. Can you give,
Well, you know what,
give
Ernest?
one fair acknowledgement? Can you give one fair acknowledgement to say that there has been some level of
Mhm.
racial animus towards Meghan Markle? You don't have to completely lose your argument by saying
Listen,
that. But
I
just be
have
honest.
never been of that mindset. Of course, there is racism. I said that from the beginning. There is
Racism
racism.
where?
There's
Towards her?
racism in the world, within the
Towards her,
world.
not the world. I said
Yes,
towards her.
yes. I listen, I can say that, but let me just explain this to you, and you cannot deny this, Ernest.